Time for PetSylvania with Dr. Bob Esplin. Dr. Bob guides you through the latest veterinary techniques and procedures to keep your pets in the best of health. PetSylvania is brought to you by Elanco, maker of Trifexis and Comfortis. With your ears up and tails wagging, here is Dr. Bob.
Well, hello, listeners of PetSylvania. Happy to start the new year off today. Our original broadcast here on Saturday happens to also be on my birthday, so I'm a year older and on my way to hopefully complete another full year. So I'd like to thank Elanco as our ongoing sponsor, makers of Trifexis and Comfortis. Should still be thinking about flea control, so I want you to think about giving year-round Trifexis for your dogs so that they get ongoing heartworm and flea control. Even though the weather's pretty chilly out there, it's something that we want to deal with. If you've had fleas and you've gotten any fleas in your house without the year-round control, you're going to have a very difficult time getting them under control and completely eliminated. Of course, my office, Sylvania Vet, is one of the sponsors as well, and one of the things that really differentiates us from every other practice in the area, and frankly, almost every other practice in the country, is the fact that we provide 24/7 care and staffing in the building and a doctor on call providing emergency service when needed. Last night, one of my doctors had to come in twice after they'd left for home so that they could provide care for two animals that had an emergency need. I had a question relative to that on Facebook this week about our emergency care, and the question was, do you have the same fees that In-Town Emergency Clinic has? And the simplest answer is no, our fees are substantially less than the emergency clinic's fees because we are able to spread them out over our expenses out over a full day and over full range of services, wellness care, through medical care, through hospitalization and surgeries, where the emergency clinic can only do it with their emergency service. So their fees, by their nature, are substantially higher, maybe as much as 40% higher. So, the thing is, you should keep us in mind. We're going to be there. Our clients certainly know that, and we'd like you to know that as well. Just to give you a quick example, Cutie has gotten a lot of publicity lately, and they've actually started a Cutie fund down at the dog warden, making donations to provide for emergency service. Cutie got the publicity because of her dramatic illness. The bill from the emergency clinic for Cutie services was $1,557. When I looked at that bill, we would have been at about $700 for exactly the same amount of care. You can see exactly what we've had. We had another one about a year ago where the fee at the emergency clinic was $466, and our fee would have been $361. So there's definitely a difference on an almost every case basis when you look at that. And so I just want you to know that Sylvania Vet's there at 24/7 for emergencies. And we have a new sponsor, and that's Esplin Medical, maker of a unique, environmentally friendly surgical scrub. So any of you out there that wear surgical scrubs, we would encourage you to go to esplinmedical.com and take a look at these. They're made of 55% bamboo, 25% cotton, and 20% poly, where most of the other scrubs that are out there are made of 65% poly and 35% cotton. They're very rough, very coarse, and they don't breathe the way the natural fiber Esplin Medical scrubs do. There are 4 colors: Caribbean blue, navy blue, seal blue, and jade green, and more to come in the future. Check it out. And Toledo Family Pharmacy is going to be carrying these by the middle of the month as well, so you'll have a local source, and we expect to have other sources available in the retail market as well. We did a surgery yesterday, a routine procedure on a dog, a spay, and at the same time we did a gastropexy. And I think we've talked a little bit about a gastropexy before, but a gastropexy is where a lot of the large breed deep-chested dogs, like this dog was a standard poodle, Great Danes, and German Shepherds and Labradors, and even something as kind of small but deep-chested like a Lhasa Apso, are susceptible for a torsion, a twist of the stomach. And so what we do is prophylactically, preventively go in and tack the stomach wall to the abdominal wall That holds the stomach in place so that it doesn't twist. If you think about how this can happen in a dog, I want you to think about a balloon with water in it, and you grab a hold of either end of the balloon. That heavy middle hangs down. That's the stomach. And so if the dog has a lot of food and or water in its stomach and starts to get rambunctious, just like if you took and you spun your hands and that water balloon hanging there with the water in it would kind of flip up on itself and flip over. If you flipped it hard enough, the same thing can happen in the stomach. And now we've got a true emergency. One of those reasons why you would certainly call us after hours at any time if you had a strong suspicion. The gastropexy should go a long, long way towards preventing one of those very serious, life-threatening gastric torsion emergencies from occurring in your dog. So give that some serious thought. Even if it's not done simultaneously with a spay, it can be done at any age preventively so that we can lessen the risk of that happening. People ask me all the time, should I get a jacket for my dog? And they kind of say it with a little bit of a sly smile and an embarrassed smile because they think, isn't that kind of silly to get a jacket? And the answer is no. I mean, I think that certainly there's a lot of short-haired dogs out there and small breed dogs that really should, if they're going to go outside to walk, and I would encourage that as long as the weather is comfortable enough for everybody to get outside. But a jacket's a good idea. Even little boots, so that you can encourage them to go outside and relieve themselves and not break their housebreaking habits. Or in the younger dog, taking them out when they're during their growth and development period, when they're a puppy, shovel a space in the grass and shovel a pathway and get out there. But putting a jacket on them is really a pretty good idea. And so now you can use whatever style you want, and you can make it something as simple as a small T-shirt or a onesie that you'd save from your infant to all these different fancy fur jackets that they make for dogs, and it's kind of fun to have that. So no, I don't think that it's silly at all to have a jacket for your dog. I think it's a really good idea. Also, good grooming helps keep a dog warmer in the winter as well. So matted and dirty hair is just like dirty blankets, not going to keep you as warm. So get your dog groomed. It's easier certainly to have a groomer, and we have groomers at Sylvania Vet, but to have a groomer do the bathing because they've got the dryers and everything. And so particularly if it's a bigger dog, you don't have a way of getting him in the tub or the shower, or it turns it into a hair mess, then let the professionals do it. And so you can give a groomer a call and know that your dog's going to be well cared for. They're not going to get chilled. In the summer, you can do a lot more bathing outside, even in the driveway with a hose, because the water's warm enough. We talk every day to clients about animals being overweight. Obesity in dogs is a major concern, just like it is in the human population, and they're constantly talking about obesity. One of the consequences, and there are many, of having an obese animal is respiratory illness, and that's not something that we readily think about. Sore joints, difficulty getting up, tiring easily when we walk because we're carrying all that extra weight can play a role. We know that from studies that have been done, that obesity will also alter the respiratory function of an animal. It makes them less exercise tolerant. It makes them less tolerant to heat. And so if they overheat, and dogs are not very efficient in controlling their body temperature anyway, now we add obesity to it, and it's certainly a problem. It can lend itself towards making an animal with a collapsed trachea. This is a windpipe that doesn't have proper support from the cartilage rings, and it tends to collapse as it enters into the chest or as it approaches the lungs. And so when an animal tries to breathe through a collapsed trachea, the harder they breathe in, the more it collapses and the more narrow it becomes. So it's kind of like trying to breathe. That balloon that we use as an example, if you suck all the air out of a filled up balloon and it flattens out, then you stop. Even if there might still be a little bit left up in the end, you're not going to be able to get it. And that's kind of what a collapsed trachea does. Frequently causes a real hard, deep, honking cough. Collapsed tracheas are diagnosed by taking x-rays of a dog when it's inhaling and it's exhaling and being able to observe what happens to the trachea. So we have a really nice little handout, one page that's titled Obesity. And if you'd like to learn more about obesity and what it does to the respiratory system, please feel free to come in and ask for the obesity handout, and we'll be happy to make a copy and send it home with you. But we can't mail it to you. You'll need to come in and pick that up. got a copy of one of the journals called Veterinary Practice News that we get on a monthly basis, and they always have some pretty interesting stuff, and much of it's business related, and then there's a lot of good medical related information as well. But one of the articles in there that really jumped out at me is that there's a veterinarian here in the U.S. Her name is Dr. Melba Ketchum, and she claims to have DNA proof that Sasquatch exists, and obviously that's an urban myth we have all considered, but she is claiming that she has been able to acquire DNA from suspected Sasquatch sightings and has analyzed it. It is a novel DNA that is a cross between modern man, the Homo sapien, and an unknown primate. This is she's been talking about this since 2010, and she's about to publish an article in a reputable, peer-reviewed journal. Now, this little side note on what does peer-reviewed mean? Well, when you read information on the internet, that doesn't necessarily mean it's true, because there's nobody looking at it that's knowledgeable about what's being written and saying that has substance and that's true. When it's peer-reviewed, there would be people with comparable credentials reading and analyzing the article, reading and analyzing the data, studying the DNA studies that have been done, and determining if these things were valid and met the scientific standards. And so if in a journal that is peer-reviewed, American Medical Association, the AMA, Lancet, which is from Britain, the American Veterinary Medical Association, or AHA journals. These are all, they publish peer-reviewed articles, and so you have faith in what you're reading, and you know that they have scientific substance. So she claims that she's got a peer-reviewed article that's ready to be published, and she's actually been on a couple of national TV shows talking about this, and it's certainly been met with a great deal of skepticism. I must admit that I thought it was pretty humorous when I read it, and so we'll wait to see when the full article comes out as to what that might be happening, and we're going to find out whether or not she's got substance to what she's saying, or if she's just passing a lot of hot air. So when you speak of that, one of the kind of unspeakable things that we deal with clients on a regular basis is dogs passing gas, and the flatulence problems that many canines do that are enough to cause a room to be evacuated. What causes this varies from dog to dog, and we get gas, we know, because sometimes we're eating too much chili or other bean product, and that causes digestive upset. But in the same kinds of things, so foods that contain soybean products can be, but stress can do it in a dog, and the diet can do it. GI upsets, diarrhea is a part of having a flu-like disease, can lead to a lot of gas as well. So how do you manage flatulence in your dog, and to a lesser extent in your cat? You can do a diet change. You can go to a low residue diet, Hill's ID, IMS low residue. There's a variety of good, high-quality, low residue diets that are out there. Or you can go to a hypoallergenic diet. And a hypoallergenic diet, sometimes the gas can be part of a food intolerance or a food allergy. And by going to a hypoallergenic diet, you can potentially decrease the amount of gas. You want to de-stress your animal as best you can, and so exercise plays a great role in many animals that are under stress, and particularly in the winter when it's hard to get them out and run them and do the things that you would do in the nicer weather, or in the really extremely hot weather when you can't run them. Those are all issues. But there are some homeopathic products that we use quite a bit. A product called Compose, another called Angstane, and then a Nurturecalm collar or dog appeasing pheromone collar. All of those help de-stress an animal, and it might help their gas. Then there are products on the human market that contain simethicone, Phazyme, Gas-X are products that you can use. 1 to 2 milligrams per pound can help control the gas in a gas factory dog. Beano can be of some value. When I tried to find out the contents of Beano, they're called food enzyme tabs. It doesn't tell us what those food enzymes are, so I'm a little bit skeptical about anything where they don't list ingredients. And then it's been determined that probiotics can play a role, and we have two two that we recommend pretty regularly at the office. There's a product called Yogurt, which is a frozen yogurt, high-content probiotic snack treat for dogs. Great product. And then a food additive called Fortiflora. That there's actually been a study done at Purina. They are the manufacturer of this product, and Purina has found that they scientifically have proven that animals that take Fortiflora mixed in with their food, there will be less gas production. So those are things that might help as we kind of talk about those things that we really don't want to talk about. Cancer is, unfortunately, is something that we deal with on a regular basis in our dogs and cats, the same as the physician deals with it with their patients. And on the human side, 10 most common kinds of cancer that have been reported over the last decade or so, in no particular order, are lymphosarcoma, which is cancer of the lymphatic system, malignant skin tumors, splenic cancer, bone and joint cancer, chest cancers, bladder cancers, brain and spinal cancers, oral and abdominal cavity cancers. Interestingly enough, we do at Sylvania Vet, we do chemotherapy. We usually work with an oncologist from a private oncology practice up in Canton, Michigan, Dr. Obradovich, or we work a lot with the people at Colorado State and Ohio State as we put together protocols to treat these cancers that we've diagnosed in dogs. And we've had great success. I have several dogs right now that are in total remission with their lymphosarcoma, and two other dogs with really severe cancers that were in the abdominal cavity. We've got them into remission right now and doing better. Our consultantologist felt that we would possibly do. So it's certainly a heart-rending diagnosis when we have to make that, and we have to inform somebody that their dog has cancer. But it's not the end of the line. It's certainly something that's available to us. And dogs and cats both handle chemotherapy extremely well without becoming deathly ill or losing all their hair or any of the other side effects that we associate with people that are going through chemotherapy. We've talked a little bit in the past, but I think it's always good because this is a time of year when arthritic animals really start to suffer with that cold air, and they're out in the cold and they're having to squat into the snow to potty, and so those arthritic dogs, they really do suffer. There's lots of things that we can do, and that no dog should have to have arthritis without some support. But the most advanced cases of arthritis can be managed with stem cell therapy. Stem cells, when produced by the sort of the pioneer of the industry, a company called VetStem, has proven for us in our hands and in many hands across the country to be extraordinarily beneficial and helpful to these animals, and they become much more ambulatory, doing things that they hadn't been able to do for years. So I want to encourage you to do that. There are other systems for stem cell therapy. They're done sort of at an in-office kind of a stem cell production. There are just a tremendous amount of questions, and the FDA is beginning to look at these to find out if they really have substance and if they're true. If it turns out to be more of a placebo kind of a treatment. I would not recommend any stem cell therapy from any company other than VetStem. Another thing that we do regularly, and we talked about a little bit last week, was we do a lot of dental work, and every month is dental month for us. And in cats, one of the most critical parts of quality dental work is to do dental X-rays. It's a part of what adds to the expense of doing that procedure, but it really enables us to find pathology that we would otherwise not know that is there. And if we've done an extraction, we always want to make sure that we've removed all the tooth and the entire tooth root. And so we're taking dental X-rays afterwards. So if you're looking for, really high quality dental care, one of the keys questions that you should ask, particularly in cats, is are you able to take dental X-rays, and are you taking dental X-rays on every cat dental? We've started doing that in the last few months where we were doing it selectively before. It's been amazing the amount of pathology that we found and the number of teeth that needed to be extracted that we otherwise wouldn't have known about. Here we are, ready to wrap it up. First, let's say thanks to Elanco, makers of Trifexis and Comfortis and Reconcile, for sponsoring us. We greatly appreciate it. Sylvania Vet, I want to remind you, 24/7 emergency availability. Call us at 419-885-4421 at any time, day or night. We will answer our phones. You will not get a recording or an answering service. Check us out on the web, sylvaniavet.com. You'll find a great deal of information on there about us and about things that will be beneficial to you and your pet as you do some research on any diseases. And then our newest sponsor, Esplin Medical, makers of environmentally friendly bamboo cotton scrubs. We highly recommend that you check it out at esplinmedical.com. Give them a try. It's like wearing pajamas. Obviously I wear a number of those, and they are very, very comfortable, and they clean in cold water, fluff dry, so that there's less cost associated with the care that's associated with them, and they're a terrific product. We have an adopt-a-thon this month, Sunday, January 13th from 12 to 3 at Sylvania Vet in our Learning Center. So come on out, instead of sitting around watching TV or playing games with the family. Hopefully you've got the Christmas tree down at that point. Another thing that's going to start again at Sylvania Vet is our basic obedience and puppy development classes. Today, we have our first puppy development class at Sylvania Vet this afternoon. Not even too late. You could probably call now and still get in that class. But then on Tuesday, the 15th, we have classes starting as well. So give us a call, 419-885-4421, and get your dog or your puppy into one of these classes. It's really a great time of the year for you to be working on that. You can work in the garage if the weather's too nasty when you do your homework at home. So I would definitely encourage you to, get the new year started. On January 19th, that's a Saturday, we are having a blood drive for the American Red Cross. And if you would like to come and be a blood donor, please give the office a call, 419-885-4421. We'll put you on the list, and you can come in and you can certainly help the community. We do this about 3 times a year. Please send us some questions so I can address those on the air. There's only one greatest pet, and it lives in your home.
You have been listening to PetSylvania with Dr. Bob Esplin on WSYLradio.com. PetSylvania is brought to you by Elanco, maker of Trifexis and Comfortis. Tune in every Saturday at 10 a.m. as Dr. Bob explains the latest in veterinary care and answers your questions. You can email your pet questions to requests@WSYLradio.com, and Dr. Bob will answer them on a future show.